Welcome back to another session. And this will be the last session for the week. It would be a short session also, but I'd like to do something today, which is simply to bring together all of what I have shared this week. Um, we've, we've spoken about different ideas and topics, some practical, some just ideas. But what I'd like to do in today's session is perhaps pull together some of the ideas I had shared previously in a way that perhaps uh, you can understand with some more clarity. Depression, anxiety, mental health issues will continue to increase over the next many years. It wouldn't be because there is something onwards or ontologically different to who we are as people. Part of that will come from, part of the reason would be as a result of what we believe. Now, the session that follows, I'm going to go into beliefs and the importance of choosing the right beliefs. But before next week's session, let me say as follows. A lot of the suffering that we go through in life are needless. They are self-imposed. They're not self-imposed because we choose that we want to suffer. They're self-imposed often because we have actually believed and we've subscribed to things that were said to us by other people. Observations made when we were young, statements made by people around us, statements made by people we love and care about deeply, and often maybe observations that we have made about ourselves. And the aggregation of all of those third voices, as I like to call them, creates an identity that we assign a belief to. And so people would say, that's just the way I am, or I can't seem to help myself. And these are self-imposed limitations. If I were to take, perhaps this might be useful, think about this piece of paper. And if I were to draw a circle like that, and let that circle, apologies, it's not very clear, but let that circle represent your real limits as an individual on the physical plane. If I were to draw another circle, maybe in dotted lines, so on the outer side you have your real, and then on the inner side you have your self-imposed limitations. What we find, and what I have found from experience, is most people are not operating based on their real limitations or limits. Most people operate based on their self-imposed limitations, which are much more narrow, smaller, restrictive, and confined. A lot of our suffering, depression, anxiety, worry, doubt, is not because things have happened. As a matter of fact, what we tend to find that is a fear perceived is much more potent than a fear performed. In actual fact, sometimes when we rehearse all of the horrible things that could happen to us, we then find, oh, when it finally happens, we realize it's not as bad as we thought it would be. So for example, the fear of going bankrupt by a lot of people is so vivid and strong, it causes them to be depressed. And eventually, if they do go bankrupt, they realize it wasn't as bad as it. Now, I know you might suggest to me that that's partly because they've already suffered it once, and therefore the suffering is like a deja vu. They're already conditioned and we're expectant of that suffering. I like to put to you something different, which is to say, a lot of the time, all of our suffering is in our mind. It's in our subconscious. It's in our conscious mind. And if we can learn how to separate and use our imagination the way it should be used. You see, worry is the wrong use of the imagination. Being doubtful is the wrong expression of the spirit. Creating positive and beautiful experiences is the right use of the imagination. And being in a place of abundance and expectation is the right use of our spirit. I said in many sessions ago that by thoughts, what we want is created. By feeling is sent to us. By expectation and action, we receive it. We are receiving and we have what we have asked for. Difficult to say. And if you was just go with me here, if you live a life of anxiety, absent clinical cases, most people who are depressed are living a life that they've created by omission or by commission, implicitly or explicitly. And the reason for that is not because you're responsible for the circumstances, but I think you are responsible for how you respond to the circumstances that occur in your life. You may not be able to change the outcome, but you can change yourself. You can get yourself to a place where you are ready, you have the right attitude, because you're built on the right philosophy of life. You take the right actions, and then you live a life worthy of admiration or emulation. Hell on earth for most people will be to come in contact with that potential that they could have been. And so it's much easier for most people to say, I just give up now because I know I'll fall short. And so this is where the whole idea of grace comes into the picture, is that you've got to give yourself grace. And many people are very easily able to extend grace and love to other people. I'm normally stunned at how little grace and love they extend to themselves. The commandment is very simple. The Lord your God is one, and love the God as you love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your might, and with all of your strength. And then it follows, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I'm stunned at how there's this lack of congruency between how people love other people, but just cannot give themselves any love or grace, and how people can have belief in other people and have no faith in themselves. So as I end this week, let me say this in the last few words for the week as follows. In the end, there'll be hope, there'll be love, and there'll be faith. And the greatest of all those three is always love. And if there's something you can give yourself love in however form that comes. Yes, life is tough. Yes, there'll be time to kick yourself up and try again. Yes, but take time to give yourself love. And that might come from, relaxation, taking a break, not overthinking, being grateful, just saying thank you. I am stunned at how much suffering disappears just by saying thank you. Those who are British, or perhaps who come from the lineage of the Queen and the King, would understand that if the king owns everything in the kingdom, then as subjects, we just say thank you always because we're looked after and we're provided for. And gratitude and thankfulness is the gate that opens a pathway to possibilities in our lives. And if you can just wake up every morning, and let's say you believe in nothing, but if you can just say thank you, wake up in the morning, you're grateful to see the sun, and just imagine this. I'm sat here, and the same sun you looked at this morning is the same sun I saw this morning. What a beautiful life. And just having that position that simply says, I am grateful for life, and I am grateful for love and those around me, and I'm also grateful for my suffering.